I want to get that out of the way before we get into any questions.
All right. Thank you. I appreciate that support. Thank you. Maybe
and
one
you
of
call
these
it
days.
early morning. I am a 70s historian. I love to say I'm a Steelers fan, but I respect the heck out of the Dallas Cowboys. I just want to go down memory lane. I want to have a lot of fun in this interview and talk about, well, we would need a couple of days to talk about all your great catches you had. But I do want to talk about the current Super Bowl. What do you think is going to happen?
It should be a good game. A lot of offense early, but I think when you get to the fourth quarter, the team that can get the stops and maybe some turnovers will be the team that probably end up winning. New England, pretty good defensive team. And the question with Atlanta, can they put the pressure on Tom Brady? So it should be a good game and an exciting game, but as far as the outcome, I don't care because the Cowboys aren't in it.
That's where I want to get to. The Cowboys did have a great year. What was your opinion of this year's version of the Cowboys?
Yeah, they did have a great season, and it was great to see how it all came together, how that adversity had hit us in training camp, with Tony Romo going down in preseason, and then Kellen Moore getting hurt, and then all of a sudden Dak emerging, and how all that came together and how the team chemistry came together and everybody was on the same page trying to accomplish the same goal. And, I say that, well, that's what it should be, but it's not. Sometimes that's not always the case. And so, but it was the case this season for the Cowboys, and hopefully what they gained and the momentum they've gained and understanding the players that they have and what they can bring, and then adding draft picks and maybe free agents to the mix to try to make us better and maybe get over the hump for next season.
Now, I want to go down memory lane, and there's so many memories, but I want to get right into 1975. You were down in 74, you come out in 75, and you play a great Minnesota team because that was the year they had went undefeated, then lost to the Redskins, and they were really picked to be the team to beat. That was one of their best teams. But you had outplayed them the whole game, and then the Hail Mary. And this is my opinion. That was definitely not pass interference on your part. I thought it was a great catch. I thought when that ball was thrown up, you wanted the ball more than Nate Wright, and you scored. That was from my point. And I'm a Steelers fan, but that is from my point of view. It was an awesome job the way Staubach pump faked a really good player in Krause from the safety position where he couldn't get over, and it was just a terrific play all around.
Yeah, it was, and no, there was no pass interference on the play, offensive pass. There was contact, but it wasn't deliberate contact. When I tell this story, I tell people we're playing football out there. We're not playing tennis or golf. So when you're running down the field in a conference playoff game, you're just trying to make a play, and in doing that, you're going to have some contact. But 2 plays before the Hail Mary, we had like a 4th and 16 that Roger hit me for 22 yards and a first down on 4th down. So if we don't hit that play, then there is no Hail Mary 2 plays later. So we made a lot of good plays in that situation, in that drive, and as you said, against a very good Minnesota Viking team. They did have the best record in the conference that season, and that's why we had to go up there as a wild card team to play them. But we played them tough throughout the football game, and like I said, for this game coming up tomorrow, you play physical through 3 quarters, and then you try to make a play or get a stop or a turnover in that 4th quarter that can make the difference in the game. And that's what we did in Minnesota. We were able to make that play in the 4th quarter, those plays in the 4th quarter to help us win that football game.
Okay, now what's your opinion? This was the greatest, I thought it was one of the greatest rivalries in NFL history. Before I get into that, I consider you the greatest storyteller. I watch NFL films. You're one of the greatest storytellers in NFL history. I always look forward to listening to you talk whenever an NFL Films project comes up because you really do a good job with that. I just wanted to tell you that.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you.
Now, I want to get into
NFL Films, they do a great job. Did you see the story
did.
on the America's team that they did? That was pretty nice.
That was one up, and we're going to get to that. And I'm going to tell you how great that was. Now, your rivalry with the Washington Redskins. What's your opinion? Do you still hate them? What's your opinion about the Redskins?
Well, I'm 34, 35 years removed from playing, so I don't have that fire in my belly against the Redskins like I did when I played when I was playing. But I still cheer for the Cowboys and hope they beat the Redskins and the Giants and the Eagles every time they play them, each and every time, twice a year. So I can't go out there and help them, but here in Dallas, we make sure the players understand the rivalry and the nature of it, the history of it, so that they go out there with the emotion, intensity, enthusiasm it takes to win a game in a rivalry like that.
Yeah, and you know what? It seemed like I love George Allen. He was a great coach. It seemed like you got behind their cornerbacks every time. Every time I'm watching when I watch a game, you were getting deep every time on Pat Fisher or Houston or whatever. And they never, I don't know if they didn't have a safety over the top. You really enjoyed some success against the Redskins.
Yeah, we did, and or I did personally, and Tony Hill as well, and
Tony Hill,
some fantastic games against them. But the reason I had success is because of the type of defenses they played, and those defenses led the eyes of the quarterback, Roger Staubach, or Danny White, to me, because of the reads in those defenses they were playing. So I would always have a multi-catches game against the Washington Redskins, and even the New York Giants. They played that same kind of defense as well. So even if it was double coverage, we still felt we can beat the double coverage. Just depend on the type of double coverages they were running against us. So, but it was always intense. Actually, I enjoyed playing the Redskins in RFK as opposed to Texas Stadium because those fans were so crazy and so loud and boisterous that it was a pleasure to say you had a 3rd and 8 situation and they're going crazy, hoping that they stop you and get their offense back on the field, and you go over in the middle and catch that ball for 9, 10 yards and a first down, and you hear that silence. Oh, you don't hear any silence. You hear silence. You hear nothing in that stadium, and that's a great feeling. But it was always great to play in RFK. It was always great to play in the Vet. And it was always great to play in the Meadowlands. Absolutely.
You know what I enjoyed before I get to the America's team thing, which that was terrific. It was terrifically done in the 70s and terrifically done on NFL Films this year. Your rivalry with the Rams, it just seemed like you would go into L.A. and just mop the floor. The Rams pulled up a couple upsets in Dallas, but in 75, you destroyed them when everybody thought the Rams could get to the Super Bowl. Then in 78, the Rams were kind of talking stuff because they beat you in the regular season. Roger Staubach had threw a pick six, and they were kind of talking stuff because they hadn't got to the Super Bowl, and they're like, this is our year. And I know before that game, personally, you had to be fired up going into L.A. like, okay, we're going to show you the real Cowboys.
Yeah, it was tough. The Rams were a very good team. They gave us a lot of trouble. Very athletic team, could throw the ball, no matter who was quarterbacking, Pat Hayden or Vince Ferragamo, whomever. They were a very good team. One of our rivals, simply because they were winning games and getting in our way, and we always seemed to have to play them somewhere along the line. In the playoffs to get past them to try to get to advance in the playoffs. So they were good foe. Gave us all we can handle most of the time, and but a lot of times we gave them all we could handle. They could handle as well.
Yeah, and also now we're going to talk about the America's game. That it was one of the best documentaries I ever saw. And then in '78, when it was first done, it was terrifically done. You had just won the Super Bowl. The show Dallas came out. It just seemed like the Dorsett was there, and it was just and you definitely America's team, and it just everything came together. And just, you guys were just cool. You in particular, you had the afro, Tony Hill. And I think that one signature play that represented coolness was against the Colts where Tony Dorsett caught a screen pass at his own 10 and ran it in. And you and him were seen giving each other five as you're running in from the 20-yard line. And that just showed how cool. I mean, some people thought it was cocky. It just looked like you guys were just having fun out there.
And we did. We had a lot of fun. We knew we were a good football team. We know we were well coached. We knew we were disciplined. We knew we were in shape and condition. And it's just a matter of going out there and executing. And then when you execute, you had situations where you had the long runs by Dorsett or the long pass by Hill or myself or Butch Johnson and Billy Joe Dupree. So we had a lot going for us back then. And then we had the head coach that everybody admired in Tom Landry and respected, and our quarterback is Roger Staubach. So it was almost a natural for us to be labeled America's team. So we took that and ran with it, and it's still part of what the Cowboys are all about today. They're still regarded as America's team, even though we haven't won a Super Bowl in 21 years. So, but we're still regarded as that because of what we meant and what we still mean to the sports world, but also to the NFL as well.
I actually, you did lose to my Steelers twice, but I considered that 78 Cowboys team one of the greatest teams of all time, even though they didn't win. Those were two of the greatest teams of all time playing each other, and it was one of the greatest Super Bowls ever. I remember the first Super Bowl. I'm going to give you a memory as a kid. You caught that ball over the middle, and I was like, oh, my God, I hope we're not going to lose the Cowboys because you and Staubach were the greatest tandem. And just describe that rivalry with Pittsburgh, those 2 years.
It was very tough. You know, they're a good football team. The best defense I've played against, the best cornerback, Mel Blount, that I've played against in my career. So it was very tough to play against them, tough to move the football, very physical team. And then on offense, you know, they were tough as well. They could run. They had the balance attack, would run the pass. Bradshaw was doing his thing. Two Hall of Fame receivers, and Lynn Swann and Stallworth. Benny Cunningham, the tight end. So, you know, we matched up pretty well. In Super Bowl X, we were the wild card team that went in there and lost 21-17. We had some turnovers late in the fourth quarter in that game that turned it around for them and cost us. And then in Super Bowl XIII, we had some turnovers there late in the game that made a difference in the second half, especially. But it was a good game. We lost it 34-31. It was good battles. But if we would have won those games, things might have been a little different for Cowboy fans and a lot of the former players that aren't in the Hall of Fame or aren't getting recognition. But, you know, who's to say? It was a great rivalry.
I agree, but I don't care that you didn't win. Those players should still be in the Hall of Fame, including yourself, with all the great catches you made.
Yeah, I know. It shouldn't be a criteria. I mean, there's a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame that haven't even played in the playoff game, you know, and I played in 22 playoff games. I caught 62 passes in playoff games. I had another 1,000 yards in playoff games, you know. So another thing they don't bring up, I threw 3 touchdown passes in the NFL. I think it was 5 for 9 throwing the football. I don't think there's any other receiver in the Hall of Fame that has thrown a touchdown pass, you know. So there's things that if I could get somebody to speak up for me and defend me and you know, get in that room, you know, vouch for me. That's the word, I guess. But you know, it's hard. Because the further you stay out and get out, the younger writers come in. They don't know nothing about your career. So, you know, you have to try to get through that senior's door. And, you know, I appreciate Kenny Easley. I think he's a Hall of Famer. But, you know, I mean, he's only played 8 seasons in the NFL. What about Cliff Harris? Okay, he was all decade safety.
Yeah.
they chose Kenny Easley over Cliff Harris. Come on, all right.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah, you got to be kidding me. Cliff Harris had the rings and all those great plays, and how good he was for an entire decade, a standard of excellence. Now you have Danny White after Staubach retired in '81, and if I think it was Carlton Williamson doesn't hog tie you, you're scoring a touchdown, probably going to the Super Bowl to beat the Cincinnati Bengals, and that changes everything. That really changes everything. What do you think about that?
Yeah, that was the '81 Conference Championship game against the 49ers out there at Candlestick, and they had just scored, and we were coming back. Danny hit me over the middle, and I was about to go, but it was Eric Wright, who the cornerback, who grabbed my jersey and then reinforced it, the grab, by grabbing my shoulder pads and yanking me down. If he doesn't do that, I have clear sailing almost all the way to the end zone. And even if I don't get to the end zone, now we're in field goal position to kick a field goal to win the game and go to the Super Bowl. So it was one of those things that could have been Hail Mary too, but you know, just didn't work out for us in that situation.
Finally, what are you doing now in your retirement years?
Well, that's about it. Pretty much retired. Just doing personal appearances, chasing my grandsons. I got 4 grandsons playing ball, and one played basketball last night in high school, and just love going to the games and watching them. You know, we had a big signing day around here this past, Tuesday. They had National Signing Day. Tony Dorsett's daughter signed with University of Texas, plays soccer. Emmett Smith's daughter signed with Texas A&M to play soccer. And Charles Haley's daughter signed with Stanford to play soccer. So we got a lot of guys for Cowboys around here now that have kids and grandkids that are coming through and doing their thing. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool around here.
Now listen, next year when I do my shows, I want you to come back on, because I'm pushing this Drew Pearson to the Hall of Fame narrative. I'm gonna push it hard, because you need to get in here.
Right.
You put the fear of God in me as a Steeler fan. So I just want to let you know about that. So
okay.
before my show
I
ends,
appreciate
I got
it.
Joe